My name is Mordecai. I live in a city called Shushan. This was the winter palace of the Achaemenid kings, the Persian kings. In our city, there are two great tourist attractions. One is the tomb of Daniel in a cone form, and the other is the statue of Hammurabi. My king, Ahasuerus, or Xerxes as he's also called, destroyed Babylon in 480 BC, and he transported this huge statue, so we have it in our town today. Now let me tell you about our little adopted girl. By the way, can you hear the noise, the beautiful sound of the Ulai River in the background? I live next to this river. Well, when my uncle died, his name is Abigail, his wife also died, and little Esther was the orphan. So we adopted this girl, beautiful inside and outside. Then the king divorced his wife Vashti, and they were looking for a replacement, a new queen for the Persian Empire. And guess who made it to the palace? Our little Esther. I kept in contact with her, walking to the palace, chatting to her, sending messages. But I had an enemy. Maybe you've got an enemy. His name was Haman. Now Haman comes from the Amalekites. And my ancestor, King Saul, a Benjamite, destroyed the Amalekites. And his family survived. So he held this against me, that my king destroyed them many centuries before. But there's another thing that irritated this very important celebrity. Whenever he came into the gate of the city, everybody bowed before him except me, Mordecai, because I don't bow before a human, I only bow before God. Now just something about my name, Mordecai. It comes from the Babylonian name Marduk. Marduk was the main god in the pantheon of Babylonian gods. And why my parents gave me this name, I'm not sure. Maybe they were a bit, they apostatized a little. Anyway, he decided that he's not only to kill me alone, but he's going to exterminate the entire Jewish population in all of that vast civilization empire. So he went to King Xerxes, Ahasuerus, and he said to him, there's a people among us that have got different mannerisms, and they worship on a different day, they worship on a Saturday. They are not an asset to the kingdom. So he said, King, I'll pay a large sum of money to exterminate this race, the Jews. And the king signed a decree. Now when you sign a decree in a Persian palace, you cannot reverse it, annul it. This came to my ears, and I said to Esther, listen, we're in a crisis. Please, speak to the king. And if you don't speak, you will also be exterminated because you're a Jewish. You've got to tell the king that you're a Jewish. And she was a bit hesitant. She said, Uncle Mordecai, I haven't spoken to my husband for 30 days. What do you think will happen? He said, you go. If you don't go, we're lost. So eventually, she sent a message back, I will go. And if I die, I die. But who knows? As you said, Uncle Mordecai, that I've come to a royalty at this stage of my life. So Esther went in, and the scepter of the king was lifted, and she ran and she touched it. And he said, "What can I do for you, Esther, even if it's half of my kingdom?" She said, "Please, tomorrow morning, may I have a dinner with you and Haman?" They said, "Of course." So Haman was invited, and she said, "Well, tomorrow I want to invite you again, and then I'll tell you what is on my heart." So when Haman left the palace, he saw Mordecai on his way, and Mordecai didn't bow down. And he said to his wife, "I'm going to build a gallows for this Jew. Tomorrow he will be gone." Anyway, that night, before the second meal that Esther arranged, our king, Xerxes, couldn't sleep. So he called the palace personnel and asked them to read from the annals. And there they read about a plot against the king. 2 men wanted to kill him. But Mordecai, came to the rescue of the king and told him about this. So they killed those 2 prospective murderers. So when Haman came in that morning to enjoy the company of Esther and the king said to Haman, "Listen, what can we do for somebody that the king wants to honor? I've got somebody that I want to honor." Haman thought it was him. So the king said, "Can you advise me, Haman?" He said, "Yes. Put that person on the royal horse, your personal horse, clothe him in royal robes, and take him through the streets of Shushan and proclaim, 'This is how the king honors a man of whom he thinks the world.'" Poor Haman. Can you see him? This was the order of the king. And then he came back, and Esther said, "King, I just want to mention to you this fact that this man Haman wanted to kill me and the rest of my Jewish friends, my family, relatives." The king was so shocked. So shocked. So what he did, Haman was hanged on the gallows that he made for Mordecai. Mordecai received a higher position in the kingly order. But now I want to tell you something. Let's go back to the time of Nebuchadnezzar. The same thing that happened in our city happened in Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar wanted a guarantee from all his officials throughout his realm, his vast empire, to show their loyalty. So he erected a huge gold image, and everybody had to bow down when the orchestra starts playing. Everybody bowed down except 3 people who kept the Sabbath, 3 Jews. It's a marvelous story. They were put into the fiery furnace, but the 4th person joined them, and God's people were saved. Now when King Xerxes proclaimed the distinction, the demise of the Jewish people, he couldn't reverse that law. But what he said, "I give you permission to defend yourself." And throughout that vast kingdom, on that specific day, I'm celebrating that great deliverance right now for God who saved his people. And now, my dear friend, if this has happened in the past, I'm sure this is going to be repeated in future, where a decree like that of Nebuchadnezzar and Xerxes will be repeated, where all God's people, God's loyal people, will be made extinct, be killed. The only thing that helped me and Esther in our crisis of facing death was fasting and prayer. It's coming. May I invite you to get a closer connection with God through Bible study and prayer, so that you can withstand the last great onslaught onto God's people. May He bless you, my dear friend. Thank you for watching this presentation. To subscribe to our channel, click here, then click the bell to get notifications. For the next presentation, click here. See you next time.